Good morning, February 27th. I'm Gabe Eltaeb, Big Man Comics Live. Be working on the Unstoppable Tyrus today. I think it's page 49. We're almost to page 50 of this 120. I think I'm upping it to 130 or 125 pages of a graphic novel. It's my brother's birthday. He's 48 years old. Happy birthday to my brother. I should be in Las Vegas. I usually take my brother to Vegas on his birthday. He couldn't go this year. He said the schedule wasn't going to work out. So we'll have to get there another time. But as you guys all know, I am the mayor of Las Vegas. I always love to go there. I need to go there. I'm itching to go there. And I need to go there soon. But here's an interesting page I'm working on. It's a bunch of environments. Right. Let me crank the opacity on this. Just so you can see it better. And I'm not going to say what this is, but it's look at this. Worked on this yesterday, but I had to quit because I did a live show talking about a James Bond movie. But some ancient civilization. So the Unstoppable Tyrus, it spans time and space. It does span different areas, different time. It's a great, great book. You're going to love it. It's action and adventure, as all the stuff I do is, and it's has thrown in superhero sci-fi stuff like that. Not too sci-fi like Star Wars or anything, but definitely some very interesting concepts in this book. So Andy Contreras at work, but stopping by to hail Gabe in the chat. Hello, Hector is here. Primero. Hector's here first. So he's here first, and you know he's first. So yeah, but that's what's going on right now. I'm thinking about a lot of stuff. I was so much stuff is political, especially in Trump world. Ever since Trump came down that golden escalator in 2015, it's been nonstop politics for everyone. And I think it's a good thing and a bad thing. I think it's hold on. I think it's good in regards to people need to be awake, right? They need to be woke. That's what woke used to mean years ago, I guess. And then people get mad that you say woke is something evil and stupid, which it is. Yeah, ever since Trump came down that golden escalator, it's never been the same. And we don't have to live in like this, I don't know, not shadow, but live in this thing where people are not aware of what the hell's going on in their lives. They're not aware of how they're being ripped off. We were talking last night about the Epstein list or whatever, and I am hoping that comes out very soon. And Jericho and I, my co-host on Wednesday nights and on Friday mornings for our new old show, Daditude, where we talk about being dads and culture, the culture war, and how to be dads in a crazy ass, horrible, disgusting world, where they're trying to ruin you and your wife and kids and make you all disgusting degenerates. That's Datitude. That's on Fridays from 11 to noon. It's the same time I do this show. It's just I have a co-host. And tomorrow we'll have Matthew Molsden, the Texan by way of England. By way of England. He's a Brit who is no longer a Brit. He is now an Americano. And he's a great American. So we'll have Matthew Marsden on tomorrow. He of Rambo fame, of Resident Evil, of a lot of great stuff. But we were talking about the Epstein list, and the fantasy for me is that the federal agents who arrest these pervert weirdos do it during the Oscars. I'm going to ask Matthew that, and it's not going to be insulting to Matthew because I love Matthew. I think he's salt of the earth. He's a good dude, like a good dude, a really good dude. He believes in God. He's got a wife and 9 kids. He's committed to being a big-time family man. Does he know how much the general public hates actors? And not all actors, but in general, those liberal, America-hating, Christian-hating, family-hating actors. Does he know that? I'm sure he does. He's an intelligent guy. So I'm sure he feels that. But the contempt the average person has for actors, just the haughtiness, the arrogance, the weirdness of you pretend to be and do something for a living, and then you want to act like Billy Badass about it. As if, I said this last night, I think acting is easy. I really do. I'm an artist. I'm a very high-level artist, as you can tell. And of all the arts, I think acting is the one that any of us could slip into. Give it 2 weeks, and we could be doing it. And you can get mad at that. I don't really give a shit. As you guys know, on here, I'm always going to just be honest with you. And that's what I think of acting. Not impressed. Not impressed. Do we love movies? Everyone loves movies. They're transcendent, man. They're awesome. But don't sit there and tell me you're better than me because you're an actor. Don't, because I'm not going to buy it. So it's I really do think of all the arts, it would be the easiest one to master. Tell me, would acting be harder than singing? I mean, singing, it takes a lot of hard work, but it's also talent based. Like you have to have the structure in your body, actually, the ratio of your lungs and your throat and your vocal cords and your rib cage and all of that, your nose, it's like a musical instrument. If you bent the shape of a trumpet or a saxophone or whatever, it would produce a different tone, correct? And that's just how singing works to a degree. Is there hard work and learning involved in singing? Absolutely. But singing is one of the arts I think is just, there's a lot of talent involved there with just their body. You know what I mean? Just how their body is formed to help them sing. Do I know this for sure? No. Is it something I've studied? Absolutely not. Am I afraid to just proclaim it? Absolutely not. It is something I've always thought about singing. I could be totally wrong about that. And if you do know more than me about it, you go ahead and disabuse me of that notion. But yeah, Hector says DEI kills imagination. It's been responsible for every mistake in any production. Yeah, DEI it's just narcissism. That's all it is. It's people who they want to feel good about everything they do, but not in a good, honorable way. They want to be a god. They want to be honored and praised and worshipped. So then that's where the virtue signal comes from. Like, oh, look at me, everyone. I helped out the minorities, or I did this, or I did that, or they say these things like they're so profound. Like, hey, you know what? I support disabled people. And it's like, yeah, we all do. You're not special. We all do. I don't see people kicking a guy in a wheelchair down a flight of stairs or something. That's, but they, and it comes from a deep-seated feelings of insecurity, in my opinion. That's what it is. And they really need to, got to lock this one, lock. They really need to virtue signal. They need to let everyone know how great they are. But yeah, I'm excited about the, it's sad to be excited about something so terrible, right? The Epstein thing, but the injustice, it's maddening that something like that we all know, it's this horrible open secret, right? We all know it's going on. So yeah, it'll be nice to see some justice. But and people say, oh, there could be Republicans on that list. I don't give a shit. I'm not a team sport guy like that. The team I'm allegiant to is justice. I could give a shit. You think I don't know that many of the horrible people in Washington, D.C. are Republicans? You're a moron if you don't know that. You're an absolute moron. Who do you think the Uniparty is comprised of? Like that's who all these people are. Most of them, I would say most of the Republicans and most of the Democrats are all the same kind of dudes. There's a reason Trump has so many enemies on both sides of the aisle and in countries all over the world, because he is ruining their party where they just take all your money. So he has ruined the scam. And it's a thing of beauty. It's a thing of beauty to see him. And as I said before, you never saw these politicians freaking out like this for you, holding a press conference, standing up there with cameras and all these phony ass people behind them. They never did it for you when it mattered for a thing that was going wrong for the everyday person. As soon as the gravy train ends, then they're up there screaming, wailing, gnashing teeth, all that stuff, because this is how they get rich. I do think it's hilarious that what we find is so much worse than what we all assumed. We all assumed there was grift and embezzlement in the government. We didn't know it was this bad. None of us knew it was this bad. So yeah, it's a great thing to see them start to clean that up, and hopefully it'll be nice when we see people marched into jail. You know what I mean? There are people like, Trump isn't doing enough. He isn't doing it fast enough. That reminds me of someone who goes on a diet and quits after a week because they don't lose 40 pounds in a week. Like, dude, this is post-World War II, 70, 80 years of corruption rotting to the core over the decades in this country and this culture. Don't start with, we need it solved in an afternoon, okay? You're not going to, let's say you're trying to lose 40 pounds. You're not going to lose that in a week unless you get your leg blown off or something, okay? So hold your water, stay calm, and you're going to see it. Like, people who can't succeed very easily, they have a real problem with the concept of direction, not location. They're like, where am I right now? And it's like, it doesn't matter where you are right now. It matters where you are right now compared to where you were yesterday and the day before and the day before. And you can plot that out and extrapolate and see where you're headed. And when you can see where you're headed, you're like, oh, okay, I'm on the right track. You know what I mean? So, and you look at Trump and you look at what's going on in 1 month. Dude, this is 1 month. It's the 27th. He was inaugurated on the 20th. It's 5 weeks. Look what they've done. Imagine a year and a half of this Doge thing, okay? Imagine 4 years of Trump if we're able to retain the House, the representatives and the Senate and all that. We better retain that in 2 years. But if we're able to do that in 2 years, then just imagine what he'll get completed. I told my wife the first time that if he just got the Supreme Court turned to a good, solid conservative majority, I'd be happy with his first term. Because I knew that the swamp, I knew what they were going to try to do. I remember telling my wife that, but I said, I don't know what kind of president Trump will be. He'll get in there. He won't know the ropes exactly, all the secret old boys network and all that. And, I think they could be able to run circles around him. And they did. Remember all the leaking in Trump's first term? Every 5 minutes, there was something coming out. And then there were all the fake stories. And they would put the fake stories out there for idiots to go, this dumb shit is true about Trump. My favorite one, and it was always lies, it was always fake news, was the gorilla channel. That Trump thinks there's a channel on TV that just shows gorillas. And when he was really mad, he got really mad at the White House staff that nobody could find him the gorilla channel that he watched at home. So staffers recorded a bunch of gorilla videos off of, I don't know, the internet or somewhere, and then played it for him. He's like, the gorilla channel, and sat down and watched it. Now, if you believe things like that, you're an idiot. It is funny. Credit to whoever came up with that lie. It's pretty good comedy, but it isn't true. Like, obviously shit like that is not true. And, but that whole thing we all have that you have to fight in your own head, confirmation bias, right? You want to hear the things you want to hear, and you desperately want them to be true. So all the stuff against Trump in the first term, there was just endless stories of Trump said this and Trump did that. And when you have a starting premise of, ABC, then when you see things that fit that premise, you're going to believe them. And that's how easy most people are. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, most people like to think they're not the lemming. They're not the follower. And I would just remind you, think of all the people who just obeyed and took the quote unquote mRNA and all that. So just think of them. All these independent thinkers, all these people that think they're smart and think they're, so enlightened and they know all kinds of stuff. Ask them why they're vaxxed. Ask them why they're boosted. I said the other day on Twitter, I have a visual arts degree with an emphasis in graphic design from the University of Northern Colorado, 2004. And I knew not to take the mRNA. I knew not to do that. I knew when I read about what it was that, no, that doesn't sound right for me, and, whatever's right for you is right for you. But, a lot is coming out now. That the guy with the art degree knew what he was talking about. Isn't that weird? So, but I guess I wasn't an expert in the science, in believing the science. So, I don't know. I mean, we've all been fooled. I'm not trying to be mean to you if you got fooled. I've been fooled about things in my life. I believe some bullshit in my life. Who hasn't, right? In this feminist, communist hellhole that we grew up in that we didn't even realize that's what it was most of the years of our lives. So I have believed stupid things and acted on them because I thought it was true. I thought the people telling it to me weren't lying. But, there comes a point where you grow up and you have to be responsible for yourself and you have to look into it. So I don't know. But I hope everyone's doing good. It's a weird thing. I always feel such relief after I get past my Wednesday night show because it's a big production to do that Wednesday night show I do here on YouTube. And I always feel like it's Friday on Thursday morning. And then I remember halfway through the morning that it is not Friday, that it is in fact Thursday. And I still got a ways to go. We got miles to go. So, but how is everyone doing? How is everyone out there? What's going on with everyone? There's a weird thing in life. I feel like there's like a holding pattern for a lot of people. They're just kind of waiting. And I'm not sure what they're waiting for, what to do or believe or what to be told or where they should go next. But I do feel it culturally. Like there's this, what now? What now? And I think it's media, social media, 24-hour news cycles, all that stuff, where it has people in this fear, but this heightened sense of anticipation where they're just kind of waiting for the next shoe to drop, the next thing to happen that they're supposed to react to. So right now I'm working on a Mayan-inspired kind of temples here. This is fun stuff. We have Asian-inspired, this bamboo forest is, that's something to draw. Jeez. Did you hear about the death of Gene Hackman? I saw that last night after my show. at around midnight. I saw that online that he and his wife and their dog were found dead in their home. No foul play suspected at first, but that's rather mysterious to me. What are the odds of all three of them dying at once? Gene Hackman, rest in peace, one of the great actors of all time, probably the greatest on-screen bad guy. You love to hate Gene Hackman. When he goes up against Denzel in Crimson Tide, man, he nails that role. He is so good at that. He is so good at being the deranged submarine captain. And that's, if you haven't seen Crimson Tide, do yourself a favor. It's a great, great movie. Denzel is, of course, great because he's one of the great actors. But I always thought Denzel was base, but I've seen some stuff in the last few months. He might be woke, man. He might be woke, and that's alarming to me because I thought he was based. I thought he was our guy. And I hope I'm wrong about that. I hope I'm totally wrong about that stuff. But I won't get into it. But I've seen some stuff about Denzel. I was like, really, dude? Him too? So we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, the Gene Hackman stuff, super mysterioso. Hopefully, Henry Thrun. Hey, big man. Hey, Henry Thrun. How you doing, buddy? Yeah, hopefully the stuff about Gene Hackman, if there's a need for justice, then there will be. That's sad. He was an old guy. He was 95, but Gene was great in Unforgiven. Confession here. I don't like Unforgiven. I don't know what people see in it. I love Clint Eastwood. I love Clint Eastwood movies. I don't think Unforgiven is a good movie. I saw it and I found it very boring. I don't get it. I don't get it. And people love that movie. They say it's his best. Not even close. The Dollars trilogy is so much better. I like Dirty Harry better. Like, what are we doing? The Unforgiven, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Hackman is a great bad guy there, but there's just something about Unforgiven. You know what it is to me? It doesn't feel like it's in the 1870s or whatever, the cowboy days. It feels like it's in the 90s. There's something about it where it's like 90s movie. Not like I don't like it. I don't like Unforgiven, like at all. Joseph Wales is the best Clint Eastwood movie. All those Westerns from the 60s and 70s that he did are outstanding, I think Clint Eastwood is the best Western star, better than the most common one, which is the Duke. John Wayne. I think Eastman is. I'll take Eastman all day over John Wayne. John Wayne's fine. He's got charisma, but I'll take Eastwood. I said Eastman. Sorry, Eastman created the Ninja Turtles. But yeah, I liked Enemy of the State. All right. Yeah, and then what a prolific director Eastwood turned out to be, right? With all his great movies, all his Oscar-winning movies he's done. He put out like his final movie, they say, Juror Number 2, and Warner Brothers effed him on it and just buried it, didn't promote it, released it at like, 2 drive-in movie theaters. But, he's one of the legends. He's got to be like 95, 96 years old or something. He's very old by now. But, yeah, not a fan of Unforgiven. Everyone hyped it up for years, and I never saw it. And I finally saw it like 3 years ago. I'm like, what? I thought it sucked. I have watched the first few Westerns. I did watch Cowboys vs. Aliens. Yeah, Cowboys vs. Aliens. I think I saw that at a hotel I was staying at when my brother got married in 2005. By the way, as I said at the top of the show, happy 48th birthday to my brother Abe. I'm supposed to be in Las Vegas, but he said he couldn't go this year because of schedules. But I usually take him to Vegas on his birthday. We had such a great time last year. Imagine Gene living in 95 just to get knocked off, the Mopsy says. Yeah, that could be what happened, and that's freaking terrible. I mean, it's terrible for anyone at any age, but who knows? They said I read a headline this morning that said the wife was dead, and she didn't look nearly as old. The dog was dead. One of the other dogs was alive. There were pills scattered on the ground. Now, this is Twitter, right? So you never know if what you're reading is true on Twitter. It does have a bit of the game of telephone aspect to it. But who knows if there was some foul play involved. It's very mysterious. The only thing I can think of, it is still winter, basically, for a few more weeks. Could be a gas leak in the home. Maybe they were real cold and the gas furnace malfunctioned. That could be a thing, in the middle of winter. Because let's say, just theorizing, not talking about Gene Hackman and his wife, just people dead, murder-suicide, right? One of the spouses does it. Would they also kill the dog? Because one of the dogs is dead, but then one of the dogs is alive, roaming around the property outside, the news said. Now, this is what the news said. I don't know if any of this is true, but it sounds to me like a gas leak, to be honest. So, I don't know. I do not know. Let's see. The Mopsy said the door was open, though. Yeah, that's weird. But it said a dog was roaming around the property. So did the dog push the door open and leave? Like the one dog that's alive? I don't know. Very sad. You do hope it's an accident, not a murder, because that's so terrible. An accident is horrible enough. But at least if it's an accident, it's not an injustice or anything like that, you know. But yeah, when I heard a dog was dead, I'm like, oh, so like the gas leaked, and then that's what I think. But what do I know? I don't know if where he lives is particularly cold this time of year. I mean, it's New Mexico. There are plenty of mountains in New Mexico, so I'm sure it can get pretty cold in some of those places. But I'm not familiar with their weather. I know it's hotter than shit in the summer. I do know that. So I would imagine it's cold though. Because if we're in San Diego and we're cold, I know it's a totally different climate over here, but I don't know. I don't know. But very sad. One of the legends of Hollywood. I never heard of him in a lot of scandals or anything like that. So that's good. Read all about him last night again. I'd read about him before, but I wanted to go back and revisit it after I'd heard he died. And normal guy, came from a normal beginnings. I think he settled in Illinois. He was in the military for a while, I think in the Korean conflict and all that, and came out to Pasadena, which is east of Los Angeles. That's where the Jet Propulsion Lab is, in Los Angeles, basically, and studied acting there at a play. And he met Dustin Hoffman, and they became fast friends. They moved to New York to get their careers going after they did that stuff in LA, and I'm not sure exactly where he got picked up first as an actor, but this is the only texture brush I use. Everything else, I just use a regular pen because I don't want this to look digital. I don't want this to look like it was drawn on an iPad. And it doesn't. It looks like it was inked by hand because that's traditionally how I do things. But I did create a brush for drawing leaves just because it's faster. I did that, I think, when I was doing Truth, Justice, American Way. I was doing trees. I'm like, I got to do some of these leaves digitally because I could do this by hand. My goodness, this saves a lot of time. So, yeah. But yeah, that's the only texture brush I use because some people use textures for a lot of stuff, and I really don't like the way that looks. I think it looks digital, right? It looks too much like it was done on an iPad. So this is fine with the leaves, but otherwise, no, I just use a regular pen for everything. Just a regular old inking pen for everything else. All right, so we're building this. We almost got it. This is when I look at this stuff and I look at all the detail on a page like this, I'm like, who the hell wrote this book? And then I'm like, I the hell wrote this book. So we have a lost Atlantean city, a lost Hyborian, like Conan the Barbarian, like a Norseman kind of ancient city. We've got like an Asian themed city. Look at those cherry blossom trees, how to abstract them into like word balloons almost. And this bamboo, this stand of bamboo trees over here. And then going with this sort of Mayan South American theme thing. You'll see what this all has to do with anything once you get the Unstoppable Tyrus in your hands. I spoke to the colorist today of Empyrean. He is doing fantastic. He's doing gorgeous work. But he hit a snag where his computer was screwing up for like 3-4 days straight. Every time he put one stroke in Photoshop to color, it would like lag for like a second. And he's on on using AI and Reddit and search and Google. And he's searching everywhere for like what is wrong with the computer. I was telling him about different computer stuff. And I think computer problems are some of the most frustrating things in the world. Not because it's like, oh, it's like shoveling a ton of rocks. That's a problem, but you know what to do. Get the shovel, scoop them up, put them over there. It's simple to understand what you need to do. With a computer, the computer makes it, the nature of it is like, it's so hard to diagnose what's wrong with it. Like, I don't know, it's doing this. But the Grok thing is amazing. It'll diagnose car trouble, health problems for people. It'll look at x-rays and tell people and do a better job than radiologists and doctors now. Because it's really, I don't know, it's really amazing stuff. But if you have any tech problems or anything like that, put it into Grok 3 on Twitter. It's the free AI assistant there. Put it in there. Click on deep search before you click send on your prompt. It'll solve it for you, dude. It's amazing. So he told me this morning he got the computer issue fixed. And he thinks we'll get the colors done by the end of next week. The contract I'm going over with the marketing and distribution people that are going to do Empyrean, work with me on marketing and Distributing Empyrean. That was sent off this morning. So we should be signing a contract soon. Share screen. Let me show you a little bit of Empyrean real quick. You're going to love this. You are going to absolutely love this book. If you love Star Wars and sci-fi and all that, look at this. Look how gorgeous this is. Look at this. It's stunning. Beautiful work. And yes, he's upside down. We're playing with the camera here. We're twisting in the 0G. It's only on that page. Don't worry about it. The whole book isn't upside down. We didn't screw up. But here he is floating out in space. I'm not going to spoil anything, but you're going to absolutely love this. It's just an outstanding book. We put everything into. We've been working on it for over a year. So I love this. I love what we're doing. Red Lightning Storm, right? Oh my God, you're going to love this. You're going to love this. Absolutely. It's a masterpiece. We've done it. 120 pages. Colors are almost done. Letters, the word balloons will be done like a week or two after the colors are done. And then designing it for the printer where you put the pages into it's basically you create this PDF in a program called Adobe InDesign, and you set up all the print specs for the ink limits and the color and where it's going to cut the actual paper, cut the image off when it turns it into an actual book, a graphic novel. That takes, an hour or two for me to do the design part. And and I have to make a few front and back pages, like a little bit of extra. Maybe we'll have a picture of the character and kind of describe them. The intro page, maybe with the credits and stuff like that. And that's less than a day. So once the color's done, hopefully in about a week, I'll finish the book, the rest of it like 2 weeks after that, and then it's ready to be sent to the printer. And we will have a marketing campaign like you won't believe. It's going to be outstanding. I worked with my attorney to make a great proposed contract for the marketing distributing people who have a huge, huge network. And we'll see. We'll see where it goes from there. But you're going to love this. And after that, we get the Unstoppable Tyrus. So, guys, everyone hit the like and hit the share right now. We've got to bring more people in, grow this show so it's more fun for everyone. But yeah, you get to see great stuff like this. You get to see the creative process. So I'm going to be on Side Scrollers today at 1, I believe. I don't know if that's a live show or recording, though. I was not told. Craig said it's a pilot for like a trivia show. I hope it's not a trivia show about just video games or something. Because like I liked video games and played them when I was young, but I don't know a lot about modern video games. The last system I bought was an Xbox. I think the last one I bought was an Xbox 360. And my son bought himself an Xbox One. But yeah, I'm not a gamer. I don't have time. I don't know how people have time for this. I think video games are outstanding. I think they're gorgeous. I think they're great art, but I don't have time. As you can see, I'm rather busy. I'm rather busy doing this. Somebody wrote that there were 4 full landscapes of amazing different worlds on this page. And yeah, somebody wrote that into the script. It takes I'm going to go find the script, and then I'm going to show you what the script says, and then we're going to look at these panels, and you see what I do to myself writing this stuff. Hold on. You're gonna laugh when you see this. So let me go to Earth Illuminated. Let me go to script. I'm going through my folders here. What is the latest version of it? There's one from May 4th. There's one from June 6th. Okay, so this is here. Earth Illuminated script Rev 2. Opening that in Adobe Acrobat. Come on, open up. And then we're going to go to, this is the Unstoppable Tyrus. Wrong book, wrong script. The Unstoppable Tyrus. Hold on. Hey, no, I don't want to try that. Get this shit out of my face. What is this? Acrobat. Quit Acrobat Pro. Get out of here. Oh, my God. I hate when the computer's rude and it just brings up a message that you didn't ask for on the screen. Like, get out of here. I don't want to answer your question. Then it tries to force you. Okay, the Tyrus script, Rev 2. This is page 49, right? 49. Okay, this is what this says. Flashback, 4 panels across the page. The page features 4 ancient cities with a blend of historical and sci-fi elements. 1, the awe-inspiring city of Atlantis. 2, Hyperborea, the cold, high-tech capital of the ancient northern men, showcasing Scandinavian, Viking, and Inuit influences. 3, an ancient Asian city infused with futuristic Atlantis-like technology. 4, an Aztec or Mayan city developed but in dense jungle, yet equipped with the advanced sci-fi motifs of Atlantis. That's what I wrote. That is, how many words is that? That is, hold on, let me see. Word count. View. How do I do the word count? Oh, show word count. That's 72 words. Probably took less than a minute to write that. I write very fast. That's what I wrote. And then that turns into this. Okay. Here's Atlantis in front of the water, flying vehicles. And I didn't write flying vehicles. I didn't write giant statues. I didn't write pyramid in the background. I didn't write any of that. You know what I mean? Here's Hyperborea, right? The Norse kingdom or whatever, with that giant lodge in the background, another pyramid, some flying dragon, high-tech buildings in the center, snow-covered trees everywhere, this whale in this like pond here. Here's the Asian style city with the cherry blossom trees and the pagoda style things. Oh, I got to ink in that Mount Fuji in the background. It's not really Mount Fuji, but you know, a stand of bamboo trees. And here's the Mayan, Aztec kind of South American inspired temples. So that 72-word description gets you all this. That's the difference between being a comic writer and comic illustrator. That's it's real easy to write this stuff, and then you spend you know, hours working on it. So, but you know, I wouldn't do it if I didn't love it. You know, no one's making me do this. I wake up every day and choose this. So that's a great thing in life. I hope that for you. I hope that for all of you, because it's a true joy to be able to do what you love for work. What do they say? Do something you love and you never work a day of your life. That is not true. It's work. It's for sure work, but it doesn't matter because I do love it. You know, it is soul crushing to work at jobs that you hate and underpay you, and maybe you don't like the boss, your coworkers or something. That's hard. I've done stuff like that, and you know, you gotta pay the rent, right? You gotta pay the bills. So I had to increase the outline on this building. The outline was too thin. When you put a thicker outline on something, it pushes it to the front of the image. Thinner outline, thinner contour line, it will recede to the back. And since this is central and the most prominent thing in the image, this giant central pagoda, I want to make sure that it has a thicker holding line. I was looking at it zoomed out just now and realized it wasn't thick enough. So, hold on. Yeah, but yeah, that's the script. That's how that goes. You write all that stuff, write that tiny bit of stuff, and then you end up drawing all this stuff. So, yeah. But yeah, tune into the Side Scroller show at like 1. I'll be there with Craig, and I think Blabs. She's usually around. She's funny as hell. And we'll be doing a trivia show. I don't know what this is about. He said it's a pilot for something, so I guess we're trying out a new thing on his channel. I don't know. I like this show. I like going on. They're fun people. You know what motifs I really loved was all the design in the newest Legend of Zelda game. Well, it's one of the newer ones. It's the Tears of the Kingdom. Now, I was saying earlier I'm not a gamer, but I did play the hell out of that game. And it's just such a beautiful game. It really is a beautiful game, a beautiful open world. I love being immersed in a story like that. I mean, I see the appeal of video games. I just don't know how anyone has time for them. I really don't know. But you know, a phenomenon nowadays is most people, you know, I think, or so many people, they're not married and they don't have families, right? They live with roommates, and they're, even though they're adults, they don't have kids and stuff. And I guess that would free you up, because it's like if you come home from your job and you don't have kids and you don't have a wife, you don't have anything scheduled. Gabe, have you done a comic, the Marvel method? Writing dialogue. Yeah, everyone. I get asked this a lot. I'm not sure why, but the answer to that is yeah. That's the only way I like to do comics, is the Marvel method. I don't want to hem myself in with the dialogue. I will write what happens on the page, and then that's it. And then after I see the page illustrated by the guy I hire, or I'm illustrating it myself, I will look at the characters and be like, oh, okay, it feels like they're saying this, and I'll improv it in. And I really love doing that. To me, that's the only way to do it. I love that. I love the improv aspect of doing the dialogue. So, and you know, you have to be an improver to do that, and that is something I have the skill for, is improvisation. You see me do it every Wednesday night with Jericho, right, on our show. So, yeah, I always do my comics the Marvel method. I think that is the superior way to do things, at least for me. Now, I do wonder how that would go with a younger illustrator who didn't have a strong storytelling ability. Would he need more of my help for me to describe every panel to him and to put the dialogue in there to help his imagination work out what we need illustrated? That might be true, because the guys I work with, I hire people that are like many decade veterans. I don't want to hire people that are not. That feels like, I don't want to be teaching, and I don't want to be having to like have to do their job for them. That would feels like that'd be a waste of my time. So, I work with veteran artists that I know from my time in the mainstream business, and I don't need to worry about giving them a brief page description and then getting really rich imagery and fantastic storytelling because they got 30 years of experience. If I was working with a 23-year-old kid and he's, this is his first book, I probably would do panel description. I'd probably even draw like rudimentary panels for him. Alan Moore is famous for doing that, basically drawing the entire comic and having it in the script you get. I have a Wildcat Spawn script from like 1996 that the illustrator, Scott Clark, rest in peace, gave me. I used to live right 3 doors down from him in high school. He worked at Jim Lee's studio, Wildstorm, and he gave me his Spawn Wildcat script, and the entire thing is illustrated. I'll have to dig that up. I know where it is. It's in a desk in my in my old office. And Alan Moore is a competent illustrator, so he would illustrate the scripts fully. I remember talking to former Wildstorm artist, and I think he's a current like Sony graphic designer or whatever, Matt Broom, and I told him about it, and he said he didn't like that. He said, I don't need some guy like telling me what I need to draw or whatever. And I could see that opinion too. You know what I mean? Like, hey, let me do it. Because coming up with what's supposed to be drawn on the page is a huge part of the fun. That's a huge part of the creative process. If the panels are being described to you fully, then how are you like getting to be really creative and dream about what you want to see or anything like that? Like, but maybe some guys prefer that. I don't know. So, but yeah, I like the Marvel method. I like the guys being free. Everyone that works for me, colorist, illustrator, whatever, you're going to be a veteran if I hire you, and I'm going to let you go. I'm going to let you go free. If I wanted it to be exactly the way I want it, then I should just draw it myself. You know what I mean? So I can't be upset when people come up with things that are not exactly with what I thought, as long as it serves the story. If they want to start changing, I worked with one guy, and he literally was changing the entire story. He wasn't paying attention to the script. And we had a contract that said I was the writer and he was the illustrator. I'm getting pages, and they're nothing like what I wrote, and changing the story fundamentally. Imagine, you all know the story of the first Star Wars, right? A New Hope. Imagine if I wrote that and it was a comic book, and then you kill Luke Skywalker on like page 7. That's how different it was with this one person. So that caused friction, needless to say. That was a problem because, well, it was a violation of our contract, first of all. But yeah, people can't do things like that. That isn't right. If you're going to sign contracts and agree to things, then you agreed to it. And you can't go, yeah, I signed it, but I don't give a shit. So that's not how that works. You know what I mean? So I don't know. That was unfortunate. An unfortunate episode. I know I need to shave. Well, my beard gets itchy after about a week. I'll trim it, and then like a week later, it's like, and I think, the hairs are turning in on themselves there, and they're kind of poking you in. What time is it? It's 11:42. I might have to go a little early today. I have something I have to attend to, and then I have to go to that thing with Craig at 1, so I might go a little early. But yes, the Marvel method, that is the way I love to work. I know it works with veteran illustrators. I'd be curious to see if it would work with younger ones. You never know till you try, right? So, but I could see younger guys needing some guidance, needing some help. There's nothing wrong with that. I always ask for guidance all the time, even though I'm the boss. I own Big Man Comics, right? I'm the publisher. I'm the main, editorial, whatever. It's all my decisions what we're going to do at this company. But one of the illustrators I work with, Akion, he's 30-something year veteran. I ask him all the time for artistic help. I always ask him, what do you think of this? How do we do this? And he's teaching me to illustrate like better. Like I'm a fine illustrator, but he's a master. And I think that is lost in our business, the whole master apprentice thing. I'm not sure why that isn't part of American comic books, but it definitely should be. And it just isn't part of the culture. It's I don't know if it's looked down on, but it's not embraced at all, the master apprentice thing. And, I defer to him, even though it's my money paying him, well, ultimately yours when you crowdfund, but you know what I mean. I'm in charge. And I'll defer to him and say, well, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And we'll disagree. And then he'll point out this to me. But I just look at his resume. I just look at what he's done, what he's accomplished, how great his things are. And a lot of times he is right. A lot of times he does know more about illustration. And I love that. I love that. I don't want to be the best guy at my company of everything. I want to have people I can learn from. You know what I mean? Because how would I get better? If I was the best one at the thing, how am I going to get better? I gotta find people that are better than me at different things. So yeah, and I think that does require a degree of humbleness. But I have no problem with that. My culture that I came from, like growing up, it was very much football, and then my grandpa was very blue collar and stuff. So to me, it was always natural to be coached, to work hard, to be at this stage and have higher goals that we're shooting for. Never to be arrogant and say, well, I've reached the zenith of perfection, so I don't need to ever improve again. That's absurd to me, because you can improve forever. There is no limit to it, right? So that's a philosophy I have, is to always be learning, always be learning, always be asking questions. That's why one of the great things about working at Wildstorm was it was like getting my doctorate. I'd gone to college and got my bachelor's, and I didn't go to graduate school, but going and working at Warner Brothers with legendary comic artists, Jim Lee, Sandra Hope, Scott Clark, Richard Friend, Trevor Scott. I mean, these are 20, 30-year legends at the time. Working with them was like getting my advanced degree in illustration, in comics, in all of it, coloring and all of it. So yeah, always find people that legit know more than you, and not just they say it, they actually have the resume and the experience where it's undeniable that they already have it. So yeah, always find that if you can, and it's a blessing if you can find that. So my Mayan temple in the jungle is coming along. Some guy wrote all this detailed stuff in the script. Oh my goodness, excuse me. Since most comic artists are subcontractors with no pensions, there are a lot of older and well-known creators who need work as they get older. Yes, that's something I noticed when I got into this business professionally. One of the first books I ever did, like professionally, was like this rich guy that lived in Bermuda. He was independently wealthy, and he had a book called The Dangerous Dozen. And he wrote it, and it was a very bizarre book. I don't think it was very well written. Everyone thinks they can write, and most people can't, especially in indie comics, dude. You'll see people that have been drawing comics for years, and they like comics, and they like the concepts and the stories, and then they come out and they write, and it's like, oh, baby, you're not a writer, and you're not even close. You're not even a year away from being a writer. And it wasn't well written. It was confusing mismatch. I don't know what it was. I think most people go with their first idea and just their inspirations of what they love the most from like movies and stuff they've seen, and they don't have anything original to say. They really don't. And so this book, I'm proud of it. I think it was good work. It got me noticed by DC Comics. But the illustrator is one of the greatest Batman artists of all time, Norm Breyfogle. And I remember working with Norm on it and just loving his work and coloring it, but also being cognizant at the time of what the hell is Norm Breyfogle doing illustrating this book that's not even an Image or Dark Horse or anything. It's just a rich guy in Bermuda hiring us to do his own ego vanity project. And it kind of dawned on me, oh, Norm is almost 50. This is 20 years ago. Norm is almost 50 and he's aged out. The young 20-something year editors, they never heard of Norm, even though he's one of the most legendary Batman artists of all time. And poor Norm, he passed away. I think he had a neurological problem or he had a cardiovascular problem. It was either his heart or his brain or something like that. Poor guy. I only talked to him a few times on the phone and never got to meet him because he didn't live anywhere near where I lived in Colorado at the time when we worked together. But yeah, I felt sorry for him that he was like a legendary illustrator and then he was just cast aside. And I knew that even though I was aiming to go to DC Comics and do all that, I knew that I needed my own thing eventually because I could see that happening to me or anyone else, that you'll age out. Look at guys like, Graham Nolan and Aaron Lopresti. These are legendary guys, right? Aaron's great resume. Graham helped invent Bane. What did they do wrong that the phone stops ringing at DC? Nothing. They didn't do anything wrong. It's they age out and you get a 23-year-old girl with pink hair as the editor. Now she's like, I don't know who the fuck Graham Nolan is. And that's bullshit. There should be I don't know, there should be advocacy for guys like that. If they want it, like the guy helped create Bane with Chuck Dixon. Are you kidding me? And then you can't find work for the guy. So that's ridiculous and disrespectful. A big thing for me is heritage and respect for the people who came before. And that's why I got so furious with DC Comics for changing the Superman slogan. And then we got the underage sex life of people, underage people. It was disgusting. And to me, it showed no respect for the people that built the business over the decades. And that I'm lucky that I get to do what I do for a living because other people suffered, didn't make as much money, didn't give it as much fame. They didn't get to cash in on what they did. There's a saying, I'm going to paraphrase it, I'm going to butcher it, but it's like good men plant trees that they will never rest in the shade of, right? I plant a tree, it might not get big enough to make shade until I'm dead and gone, decades and decades and decades and decades from now. And guys like Graham Nolan, all that, it's bullshit to see that happen to them. And Norm Brfogle and all that. So, yeah, it's really bullshit. Some guys, they stick around forever. You got like a Dan Jurgens, he's well into his 60s or whatever, and he deserves it to work there. There are some guys, they stick around forever, and I'm not sure how that works for some and not for others. I think if I didn't leave, it would have worked for me. They gave me so much work at DC, I had to turn work down. But it was never enough for me to be a colorist. I'm not a colorist. I can color very well. 3 books I've worked on, Eisner nominated, and 2 won the Eisner. I'm an excellent colorist. I'm one of the best in my opinion. But I'm a storyteller. I'm an illustrator, as you can see. You see it right in front of you. And I'm a writer. You know that. You've read my work. It's very well written work. So it was not enough for me to be a colorist there. I appreciate that I got that job and the opportunities, but they were very much stay in your lane. I would tell DC over and over, I got a script idea. I got this. Drawing like 5 pages of a book I wrote, like for them, like making stuff up and pitching it. And they were always just like, nice, but stay in your lane. That's basically how it was. So, yeah, I feel sorry for the guys that age out. I think that's a bunch of BS. And, but if that's how it is, one thing in life you don't want to do is try and change people, what they're going to do. You can change and control you. You cannot change and control them. So if they're going to mistreat you, then get away from them. You can't stop them from mistreating you if you stay near them. So if they're going to mistreat you, get the hell away from them, right? One saying I like to use is don't let anybody mistreat you. Ever. You draw that line in the sand, you're like, no, you don't do this to me. And if they want to persist, then you get away from them, period. And you have to be able to set boundaries in life. And I think in this feminized, no father world that we live in, it makes people desperate because they don't get the approval they need growing up. And they become very, very bad with boundaries. They don't have boundaries. It's very, very sad to watch. So you have to set boundaries in life. If you don't, the sociopathic people, they will just use you with zero remorse. They absolutely will. So you have to set boundaries. And if DC and those companies are going to just marginalize people eventually and just like, yeah, you worked for us and you created Bane and all this stuff, but like, who gives a shit now? Maybe we'll call you, maybe we won't, even though you have a mortgage. Then you got to do what Graham and Aaron and those guys did. It's smart. Go out, stake your claim, make your own thing. And they seem to be doing good. So good on them, man. Good for them. I don't know them that well, but I colored a book for Aaron and I talked to Graham, had him on my channel a few times. I like the guys. I never knew them before really, but I think those are solid dudes. And I think it's fucked up how that industry just lost their phone number, all of a sudden they don't matter. Like that's whatever, dude. But again, you can't control them. You can't make them love you, right? There's a saying I love: attraction is non-negotiable, right? You're never going to talk someone into loving you. It's not how it works. They either do or they don't. And another saying I love about this concept is walk through open doors. There are people that will be like, they don't want you. And there are other people, like a dog, their tail starts wagging when they see you. They love you. And maybe you don't like them as much. Take it, though. Walk through open doors in life. The people that want you, that have, as we say in Espanol, ganas, the people that have desire for you, take it. Take it. Even if it's even if your first choice was the other person, but the first choice person is like, maybe, we'll see. Take it. Take the one that wants you. So that's, I think, some of the best advice I ever heard is, and I call it, the person that gave the advice called it walk through open doors. Don't sit there and pound on locked doors over and over and over, where the person inside is like, sorry, we don't want any. Fuck them. They don't want any. Okay. You don't want any? Fine. That's what it'll be. I want people that want me. I want people where I'm not doing all the work and making all the effort, you know. That's no way to live, and that's not having any self-respect, frankly, right? That's being desperate, and desperate ain't good. Desperate is horrible for you. So yeah, that's my opinion on that. But yeah, it's yeah, that was one thing about the business I didn't like is seeing guys age out like that and just kind of be like, yeah, maybe we'll call you, maybe we won't. Remember Jerry Ordway, he he raised a fuss online and then they gave him some work. They threw him a bone and gave him some work. But Jerry Ordway, another legend. I worked with him on a great 2011 Green Lantern movie tie-in comic book. And but Jerry Ordway's been a legend for them for years. And then they lost his number, lost his email address basically for a long time. And he didn't stay silent about it. He said something about it, you know, and then he started getting work again. But should it really come to that? You know, it's kind of, I don't know. But again, you can't control them. Why bother? Why bother trying to control them? Here's a fun thing that this can do. I'm going to show you this, and then I'm going to get out of here. So you can turn on this thing called symmetry on here, and that way when you want to have something balanced, it will draw both sides of the object at the same time. This is where the iPad comes in really handy, right? It's not that it's drawing for you, it's just saving you a step of having to do so much measuring. This is outstanding that this does this. And it does all kinds of rulers. It'll do perspective, it'll do symmetry and all kinds of symmetry. It can do radial symmetry, it can do all kinds of stuff. So this way you can get some really even, beautiful symmetry on some shapes and not have to worry about, oh, that's crooked on this side and it should be more that way. So yeah, I like this a lot, this concept. And just the fast editing too, that you can make a mistake and erase it almost immediately. That's outstanding. Like, see how straight that is? It's fantastic, right? And then, excuse me. The mop seat says, yeah, that's a cool, yeah, it's outrageously good. I try to make this stuff look as not digital as possible. I want it to look like pen and ink, but things like that, hard to turn down. Hold on, we'll start from the center. Yeah, so yeah, it's really, really cool stuff like that. And where's the center line? Okay. Oop. Okay, so there we go. We got that decorated thing there. Okay, so I am going to skedaddle here in just a second. Guys, go to bigmancomics.com. Get yourself Dean Cain, All-American Lawman. We got the Unstoppable Tyrus coming up. That's what I'm working on here. This is page 49. I will go on and finish page 50 tonight. Get on the mailing list at bigmancomics.com. That way you'll stay updated. I don't spam you with endless emails and all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm doing an email like every other week, every 10 days or so. New art, new announcements, stuff like that, and look for some really big announcements of the marketing and distribution deal for Empyrean. It's going to be killer. Here's Empyrean again, if you're wondering what that was. Follow me on X at Big Man Comics. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe here. Share this out right now. Everyone watching, click share right now. Share it out on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. I'm Gabe Eltaeb. You see how to spell it right there on the screen. And I will talk to you very soon. New merch? Yeah, there'll be new books and stuff like that this spring. The Empyrean stuff and its merch, that'll be coming this spring. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.